Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another transfer watch on a Chelsea Perspective. But more importantly, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. And I hope you guys are doing well. Today, the usual cliche, we have quite a lot to talk about. We'll talk about Raheem Sterling. We'll talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll talk about De Jong. We'll talk about Nathan Ake and a whole lot of other players that we're looking at. And the truth is, it is everywhere right now. Rafinha also included. But sit back, relax. We got your back. And if we hear anything new as the show progresses, we will also talk about it. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Hey, Louisa, how are you doing? Nice to have you already on the panel. How are things with you?
Yeah, I'm fine. And you, coach?
I can't complain as usual. Again, I'm still confident, but I want to know how you're feeling. You're feeling confident. You're feeling, have you hopped on the panic bus yet, or you're still confident things will change for good?
You know how it is with me, coach. I'm always confident. I'm always calm.
Mm. That's a good thing to see because most Chelsea fans are not the same. Some of them have given up already. They've already started calling the new owners and names and all that. But again, I'm going to repeat myself as I do every day when we start the show. Is that everyone should just calm down. But by the time the window shuts, I think we'll get in the place we want, and overall, we will have a transfer window. Let me start again. As this tradition here, we'll go through what we have in the chat already. And this is True Blue saying, and also the Reese and Matson isn't traveling to the US. That's some bad news for me. Again, that's not a good sign for the youth players who's been involved in the training or returning from international duty. But again, we'll see what happens. But I'm really concerned if this happens, especially if if I see the same fate befall Levi Colwill. But we'll see. Hello, everyone. Says Curtis Dan. Curtis Dan, I hope you're doing well, brother. Nice to see you. I sincerely do hope so. Again, Curtis Dan says, can we get this up to 50 likes quickly? Yes, people, as you're coming in, keep liking the video. And wherever you're watching from, please be sure to like the video to help us to reach more people. Let's shoot for 200 likes by the end of the show. We've done that in, I think, 3 consecutive days. We were narrowly missed out of that milestone yesterday, but I know we can do that today. So keep liking the video as you're coming in. Kurdistan says, what do you think of the Dembele Rafinha domino effect? I think it will be a good one, given what we're hearing. The Barca will only, be able to accommodate one of the two players. It remains to be seen whether that's the case. There's a chance they can actually accommodate them both. It depends how high they are on their priority list, if you want to phrase it that way. I think they want both players, but I think we're making their pursuit of Rafinha very difficult for them. Had it not been how much we already have, how much the bid we put in, which is something the north of 60 million that they're not willing to match, I think they would have by now completed the signing of Rafinha. Again, but that's me. We'll see what happens. So coming to you, Louisa, your thoughts on this comment on the screen.
Yeah, personally, people think that Barca would want like either or, not both of them. But here's my thinking. My thinking is that probably what's stopping Barca from registering players, because they've still not been able to register some of their players that they've already announced and signed, is that because they are in like a financial distress. It's not like they don't have the money to sign these players. They have the money to sign these players, but they are trying to manage their wage bill, because their wage bill is going to be like an annual expenses that they already like accrue. They will just have that already. So they are trying to manage their wage bill and make sure that it's like less than what they usually have going on, so that they will be able to keep money after paying player salary like per annum. So I think that's what's going on right now. It's not like maybe they don't have the money to sign them outright, because according to the calculation True Blue did yesterday, it looks like they do have some financial windfall coming their way, which they should be able to sign, because I feel like it's just the players that they are looking at altogether is not won't cost them more than 200 million, and I think they are getting about 600 million injection.
And probably there's a chance they sell more of their assets to get money. The only issue they have is that they're still in debt, and it's not something they can, they can take care of immediately. It will take a years for them to cancel out the debt. And again, selling their assets means they're practically, taking a new loan to get a new one. But we'll see. I think it's for 25 years. And if you think of it before, it's just like this. We'll get to 25 years, and they'll be fine. Again, thank you very much for taking some time to answer that. I am starting to feel a bit calmer now about the transfer window, even though I'm not 100% on Ake. Looks like we could be announcing Sterling and Ake at the same time. There's a chance that happens. But here's the thing. If we sign Ake and let Levi Colwill go, I think I will not be happy for obvious reasons. So that's because Levi Colwill played more games than Ake did, Nathan Ake did this past season. Forget the level of the games. The championship itself, it's a very, very difficult league to play in, and he played that much game, and he was part of the the Huddersfield team that made it to the playoffs, and they were lucky actually not to make it to the Premier League. You could argue that they were robbed. So I'm not going to be happy if we pay that much money for Ake and let Levi Colwill leave. I still think we can keep on both. Your thoughts, Louisa?
Yeah, that's what's not the Levi Colwill situation exactly. What's really causing a rumble within the fan base right now is that Chelsea are going to pay that much for Ake, that it's nowhere near that amount, that they wouldn't mind taking him for around 25 to 30. But it's the length of the contract. That is why even Ake is like looking as if it's going to cost us more than Sterling is going to cost us, forgetting the fact that like one plays in a very financial impact position, like compared to attacker versus defender. And I don't think we lose Levi Colwill, but it remains to be seen, because we are losing Matthijs, so I need to like see what the plans actually is. Because Thomas had some of these youth, the academic graduates in like the sub. He had them in the squad, but most times they weren't getting meaningful minutes, even in games where we didn't need to play some of our starters. So it's left to be seen what Thomas' vision is in integrating the academic graduates into the first squad. And Thomas might not be the manager who want to like be in charge of developing the youths into like first team material after they've come back from loan. So we really don't know what the situation is. And Levi Colwill might be on his way out because Thomas did not like make a plan where he's going to try and make sure that, okay, I'll get you meaningful minutes, you prove yourself, you're either going to stay in the squad or you might make it or break it in the squad. So we need to see what Thomas' plan is towards the youth players first before we know if Levi Colwill is out the door. But I don't think we exchanged Levi Colwill for Nathan.
He should know, again, the manager should know these players well enough by now to decide what he wants to do with them, who he wants to stay and who he wants to leave. But again, I accept the fact that all of them are not going to stay. Some of them will leave, will return, go out on loan. Some will be sold. And I think only a few, let's say at least two of them will get the chance to remain with the team. But we'll see what happens. Again, I've read that already. It says, is Ake deal worth it? Again, that's another question. Anything north of even north of 40 million, I don't think it's worth it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Louisa, your thoughts on this question on the screen?
Yeah, Exactly what you said. I don't think Nathan Ake is worth anything more than 40 million, and that is even being generous considering he's still on a contract. Because first of all, it was our player. We let go of him because rightfully he wasn't at the level we wanted him to be at yet. I don't think he's still at the level we really want him to be at, and that's the issue people are having. Some people are saying we're buying him to be a backup. Backup to who? We don't have the like initial player that you're buying him for is as a backup, and now you want to talk about buying a backup for 50 million. 50 million is it might not look like a lot because of course it's football money, but at the same time 50 million is too much to buy and say, okay, we're not buying quality player for 50 million. You might as well just add the 25 and get someone like the Ligt, or maybe even 15-10 to get someone like Kounde, and let's know that we have a starting defender, because we do need starting defenders. Ake is not that material yet. He might come in and prove us wrong, which will be fine and good for us because we're Chelsea fans. If he's proving us wrong, that means we're winning, and that's good for us.
Yeah, again, it just doesn't make sense if people call him a backup and we're paying 50 million plus for him. Again, what direction are we headed to? I'm confused. Currently, Stan says I'd rather loan out Marlon Sarr and keep Colwill. Again, it all depends on how the manager sees it. There's a chance he decides that Sarr has been with the team for quite some time now and probably understands better how he wants the team to play. So he'd rather keep Sarr than do, and loan out Levi Colwill. But we'll see what happens. Tribute says evening. It's an income, not a loan. They are selling 10% of TV rights. They are streets ahead of everyone, bar Madrid on TV rights. The debt does not have to be paid overnight as well. Yeah, we knew that but before time. But thank you for explaining that. Again, here we have Chip Slime saying people are talking about transfers coming in, but what about the transfers going out? We have Babi Rahman, Barkley, Batshuayi, to name a few, quite a lot of them. Again, and again, if they don't leave, I don't think we'd have enough space for players we want to bring in. But at least we have space for around 4 or 5 players. Luisa, do you think how much of a problem do you think it will be if we don't, find a solution in terms of moving out the so-called deadwoods of players that are surplus to requirement, because that creates a problem, especially within the men's first team, because if players don't go out, there would be no space for incoming players. Your thoughts?
Yeah, especially these players that you mentioned, Baba Rahman, Barkley, Batshuayi. I feel like we would get rid of a lot of players, maybe not in one window, but we're eventually going to get rid of players that we feel like we're never going to use again. Because, like in the case of ZH, I think we're still exploring a loan option for him, because he put out a statement on his Instagram like a few hours ago where it was like he needs, from now henceforth, is going to be talking about his personal,
taking care of anything regarding his
he's going to be taking care of anything. So that feels like something they've been making a plan for him to get rid of him, something like that. That was what it looked like, because he said my legal representatives, myself, which will be good for my future. So we are exploring getting rid of, because you can't get rid of someone like Ziyech and not be thinking about getting rid of Baba Rahman. The point now is whether would Todd Boehly be willing to take a loss on like just getting rid of these guys with that, because I don't think there's any decent amount we'll be getting for these ones that would not like amount to a loss at the end of the day. But we are definitely going to get rid of them, because he would not want to inherit a huge wage bill when he could easily just let go of them. It's not like he didn't get he got the club debt free, so he can afford to let go of these players, so that Chelsea does not, so that to reduce the wage bill of players who are not contributing anything to the club financially.
The truth remains, some of these players, I think, are actually, if left for the club, it would be easy for them to leave. But in most cases, the problem is some of them are on a very high wage, and the buying clubs are not willing to pay them that much money. You could argue that's why the likes of Ross Barkley wasn't able to find a club. He was on a very high wage. Even Danny Drinkwater at some point wasn't able to find a club, even for a loan move, because he was in a very high wage, and those things make it difficult for us to find buyers. So some of them, even if you look at their careers where they are at this point, they could care less whether they get called up for international duty. They could care less whether other clubs look at their form and say they want to buy them. They just want the money, because the truth remains, it is business for the players as much as it is the business for the club after all. So that makes it even more difficult, to ship out some of those players. But you get my argument. Middlesbrough and Reading battling for Rahman. Do they want to sign him? If they want to sign him, I'll try it. I'd really love that. I don't want him to still remain on the books of the club. I want him to leave, again, sign up permanently for one of those clubs and then create space for us. Again, if you're joining us, we have 51 people watching and we have just 19 likes. And I'm going to repeat myself as usual. I'd rather you like the video than donate your hard-earned cash to the channel. Again, you watching the video, commenting, sharing the videos, all those things do more for the channel than you donating your money. Again, there are other ways that the channel can make money. So thank you in advance. We have 19 likes. Let's shoot for 200 likes by the end of the show. And I wholeheartedly know we can actually do that. Malinsa is a liability, unfortunately. Here's my argument about Malinsa. I know some people think, like Nini described him as one of the worst signing ever for the club. I don't think that's the case. The kid is just 21 or 22. And because he was unlucky, he played for us at the point we had issues in the midfield area, which means, again, our opponents, our defense wasn't our defense wasn't protected properly, so opposition players were able to come at us at ease, and then he got exposed, and then it wasn't just him, but I think he was scapegoated, if you ask me. But that's by the way. Here, Deals CFC says, big up Kuchila, big up Louisa. I am vexed about Rafinha and Dembele. We've missed out on both. I don't know where you're hearing that. I'm not sure that has happened yet. Again, that's a high chance it happened, but I'm not sure it has happened. Louisa, your thoughts on that comment from Deals CFC? Have we missed out on those players already, or you don't think that's the case?
No, I don't think we've missed out on the player. We might eventually miss out on the player, but as it is, I think we are still very much in a poor position to get, especially Rafinha.
Let's say maybe either of the two players. I don't think we're missing out on both. What I'm hearing is that Barcelona cannot accommodate both players, which means they take just one. So we have the opportunity to sign one. But there's some interest in, perspective in this whole transfer conundrum from Declared, where he said, again, there's a chance actually we may end up not signing even what's his name, even Dembele or Rafinha. Why? Because we already have Sterling, and he can fulfill the role of both players comfortably. That's on his day. So there's a chance we will not push that much for two of the other players. Your thoughts on that theory?
Yeah, I feel like that was what the Sterling deal later became like a replacement for the interest in Dembele, which feels like it's the right move to go. So if we end up missing out on both Rafinha and Dembele, I feel like we are going in. That means we are going in for someone else in Barca, because we did see the news about Todd Boehly going to Barcelona. So it's not going to make sense if he was going there just for the Azpilicueta deal, which was pretty much done before he went there. It's not going to be for the Alonso. It's not going there to make a deal to sell players. It's probably going there to make a deal to see what we need, because his own house is in a dire situation, so he would need to get something out of that deal from going there, not just money, because as it is, Chelsea, we don't need money, we need players. That's the first thing we need. We don't need money, we need players.
Yep, I think you're very correct. We have the money. Our biggest problem is convincing the players to want to join us from what we're seeing right now. That's in fact, if everything we're seeing out there, if those things are the truth. But again, thank you very much. 23 likes already. Keep liking the video if you haven't. Please, we're shooting for 200 likes today. But more importantly, stay tuned, because we have quite a lot of updates to talk about. Again, let's see. Shame we couldn't do a Barkley plus cash deal for Yuri Tillemans. Yep, it's not that simple. Barkley is on a very high wage, and I don't think maybe what's his name, Brendan Rodgers doesn't value backing that much or not. Again, he's not in the greatest form of his life, so it wouldn't be that easy. But some clubs would still want him, I think. So I am waiting to see the squad for US tomorrow. No Matson already not going. Again, that's disappointing to me, which means the question that begs the question: Marcos Alonso is leaving. Okay, you said Ian Mason plays on the right hand side, but he can. I've heard he can also play on the left hand side. Alonso is definitely leaving from what we're seeing. Then what plans do we have? Are we looking to sign another left-sided defender, or maybe we're okay with keeping what's the Italian Brazilian guy Emerson? But we'll see what happens. Like and subscribe, people. Yes, people, keep liking the video. We have 62 people watching right now, and we have 23 likes. If you're coming in, please take a second to like the video. It doesn't cost anything. Do you think De Jong is a smokescreen for Rice? I don't know how to interpret that. Honestly, I don't think that's the case. I think that Chelsea really, from what we're hearing, it looks like we're really interested in De Jong. And for me, I'd prefer having De Jong over Rice. If you argue, but Rice can also play as a center back. I think it was Matt the other day who talked about it. De Jong has also played in that position when they have when they had injury issues at Barcelona. He played as a center half, and he did quite well for them. But Luisa, your thoughts on the comment?
Yeah, I feel like with Todd, and I've just been saying this since we changed ownership about Todd and the American and him being a businessman who still answers to other people. It has just been kind of like nothing it does is to be taken at face value, because it's only letting people see what he wants them to see. He could very well be doing something completely different from what we have been seeing all this while. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not like panicking, because it feels like in the media we're not signing anyone. At the same time, we're going through some deals and all. I don't think De Jong is a smokescreen for Rice, because Rice is not a statement signing. Like, it's a statement signing in terms of finance, but it's not a statement signing in terms of the player we're getting. It's just like, Chelsea just went in and dropped money. Buying Rice at that amount would be like getting Havertz and getting Werner. We did get them for like more money than they would potentially be worth if they weren't like hyped by the media and put some ridiculous clause on it by their club. So I don't think we're getting Rice. I think we're getting De Jong just because of the fact that Rice costs a lot, and we do need we need at least 4 incoming players, and I don't think we are looking towards any free agents that would have potentially gotten like made us to get more players with a limited budget. I don't think we'll do, because Rice would cost us at least, even if it didn't cost us up to 100, it would cost us at least 80.
Yep, that's a lot of money, and we're not even sure what we heard. Was it a month ago or so regarding they're saying that the price has actually come down to around 75 to 80 million. There's no way to confirm that's the truth. If that was the case, why hasn't Chelsea signed him? Because we heard around 74 to 75. I'm not sure the number right now, so it just doesn't make sense. I think West Ham are still bent on getting around the number we've had before 100 is something north of 80 to 90 million pounds. But we'll see how much they're able to get for him. Again, says, we've answered that question, says, how can I jump on again? Should I message you? Yeah, message me on Twitter and let me know when you've done that. So I'll look at it and share the link with you so you can come and express yourself here. I am an Arsenal fan and would like to give a different perspective. Yes, you've told us that before, and I'm well aware. And when you asked about the link, I told you just message me via Twitter or Instagram, and I'll reach out. Go check Fabrizio Dembele's tweet. I've seen them. So he's saying it all comes down to, I think it's left for Barca to accept what Dembele wants. Again, that doesn't mean that they've come to an agreement. And remember what I told you. We're hearing that Barcelona can only accommodate either one of 2 players, either Dembele or Rafinha. So whichever one they leave, I'm thinking Chelsea may well be able to get that one. But we'll see what happens. It cannot be confirmed yet. That's the case. again, this is just all speculating from what we're hearing. Ousmane Dembele and Barcelona have both reached a basic agreement over their contract until 2024 with a 40% salary reduction. I don't think this is complete, but I think a part of it was says something like it's now left for Barca to I agree on what Dembele wants, but we'll see. Check your tweets again. I'll check it in a bit. True Blue, I am really disappointed to hear Masson isn't going. Yep, I am disappointed at that. I hope it is because of an injury and not that Tuchel has already made up his mind. We don't know, but we'll see. This transfer window is so underwhelming, so depressing, so crazy. So confusing that you don't know how it's. I don't know how it's to talk about it to make a sense of it. Ian Matson is left-sided. We paid a buyout for Werner. Bayern wanted 100 million for Havertz, so we dropped less than they wanted. Yeah, I get the argument there. Did you see the news on Malang Sarr? News apparently his preferred choice over Levi Colwill. Are we being serious again? That's why we've argued before. In most cases, the manager prefers players that he's worked with, players that have been part of the team, players that have learned how he prefers to approach the game. It's not just because in most cases how well you do on loan. You'd have to be exceptional for you to come back for the manager to already decide, okay, I want to keep this player. Maybe he has the ability to adapt to the way we play. It's not really usually that simple. Dembele was signed. And so Rafinha, can you elaborate? The Chelsea boy 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us know why you think both players were signed. Again, we have 84 people watching, and we have just 26 likes. If you haven't, please take a second to like the video and also do subscribe to the channel. In Life No Limits, not injured. Did I miss a comment from In Life No Limits here? Was he here and I didn't see his comment? But we'll see what happens. The Ligt wants a Chelsea move tomorrow. The Ligt is seduced by Bayern. Again, that's why I'm saying it is confusing, and there's no way to tell that any of those things that we're hearing is in fact the truth. So it's the fact. So that's again, I know we shouldn't believe everything we hear in the news, but our supposed transfer targets are just sporadic. It is indeed. Let's be factual here. What are we doing? This is why we need a DOF. Too much power for TT. Can be an issue. No, I wouldn't argue that TT has too much power right now. He's not involved in the negotiations. I think the only thing you could argue, maybe he's the one that pointing at the players at the clubs is trying to get. I wouldn't at this point say he has too much power. That's not the case. If his role has changed, like we've argued before, from coach to manager, you'd see that on the club's website, but nothing like that on the club's website. EPL clubs interested in Matson. Again, we've talked about that here. That's why it's always a problem when they come back and when they know that there are no shortage of buyers for them. If they don't, get the chance to play in the team, which I think they should get, if they are patient themselves, they will get game time. They usually will decide to leave. Again, the most we could do in most cases is either buy it back clause on their contracts and sell them because we don't want to lose them on the free. Buy Ake for 45 million and let City go for Delete or Vadio. What a dumb football club. Again, that's the argument most people have been making. The moment we give them money for Ake, they're going to come for Delete. But we'll see. That's just a theory, if you ask me, because Rafinha wants a Barca, and so does Dembele. Again, that's the argument always. If Dembele seriously wanted to leave Barca, why is he still negotiating with them? I am so confused, and so I'm not sure. That's why I say this transfer window, oh man, it is so confusing. Yeah, it is indeed. This transfer window gives me headache. The same news at Chelsea are slipping on. Yep. Hey, Kachila panel and everyone in the chat. Just stopping by to say hi. I know it's late where you are. Just of Viola, the queen of the house. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. At 2 a.m. tonight, the lead intrigued at working with TT, but it was a daily fell. Yeah, we're not sure which is the truth. Thank you very much for that. So I'm going to bring in Bobby. Bobby, how are you doing? Let us know. Again, I want to know where you are right now. How are you feeling about the transfer window? Are you feeling confident? Are you still concerned? Let us know how you're feeling.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Yeah,
Hi to you too, Bobby.
I may not hang around too long.
No problem.
All I can
understand.
say is this. I am concerned. I continue to be concerned. We have a transfer window that agents paid off journalists with special interests and club propaganda is just filling the information networks. There's some sort of info wars going on here. A lot of lies in the media. Nobody's really telling the truth. And I don't think Chelsea's helping. The Rafinha situation, well, they've done all they can, and I think they've done the right thing. But Rafinha should not and is not the only player that we're going for. And it's a matter of getting the deals done. De Ligt is an obvious priority. Just pay the money. You see, all this haggling, there comes a time where haggling is meaningless. De Ligt is a long-term project. He's 22 years old. We're desperate. We don't have a defender. The previous board, whether all of you love them or not, for whatever sentiment you harbor, the previous board dropped the ball big time. How they acted was completely incompetent. They let Rudiger go. If they hadn't let Rudiger go, we wouldn't be in this dilemma. We'll be in a comfortable position, whereas then we can haggle the price and see what we can get out of it. But at the moment, we can't. Rudiger going was always going to be expensive. It was more expensive to let him go than keep him. And I think that's one of several unforgivable mistakes by the past board. I don't know if that's why they're gone, but in my view, that's enough to fire them. So now we've got Todd Boehly on his own, running around doing all these deals. Yes, he has the whole consortium behind him, but still he seems to be the guy doing the legwork. So of course it's going to take time because one person can only get around so much at a time. I think the problem we're creating for ourselves is that we're not just spend the money. You're going to end up spending it anyway. Juventus have said, look, if you drop 80 million, they're going to think about it. Yes, it's a lot of money, but it is what it is. We can't just mess about. Now, if you have the money, pay it. If you don't, then walk away. All this messing around, maybe let's wait and see what Bayern is doing is drama and just feeding the rumor mill and wasting our time. We're already on pre-season. And another thing, I understand what you're saying about Malang Sarr, but honestly, if Tuchel doesn't take someone like Levi Colwill to pre-season, I will start harboring a few concerns about him, about his vision, because he's meant to be here for the long term. So he has to invest in our academy. Now, Levi Colwill, Malang Sarr is a no-brainer. I don't care whether he's used Malang Sarr. He's used Malang Sarr last season to poor effect. You're talking about getting rid of Hakim Ziyech, who's 100 times better in whatever position you play him than Malang Sarr.
It's not about it's not about getting rid of Hakim Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech, in fact, wants to leave.
Well, I don't believe that either.
Okay.
I don't believe any of these things that people are saying. I think they are pawning him. And of course, if someone pawns you, you're going to want to leave. You're not going to feel wanted. So, you want to do that, yet you're hanging on to Malang Sarr. So I have to say, I love Tuchel. I've always been with him, but he's not totally absolved from some of the situations we're in. I think he has had a say in it. He's certainly got a say in it now. And, he can't make that sort of stupid decision. It's a pre-season friendly. That's what it's for, to exercise your players and look at new options. So we are where we are. We're still waiting. We still haven't even done the Sterling deal. There's all this kerfuffle about Sterling. Okay, where is he? Nowhere to be seen. Now we're talking about Ake, and you're right. You drop the money for City. If you are trying to be tactical and wait on paying City before you pay for other players, so that they don't have, the the funding to be able to do that, then pay for the other players. Don't get any of this hanging around for De Ligt. Pay the money, take your player and go. It's nonsense. We're going back to that old hesitant Chelsea, and that's not the way to deal in this market. It isn't.
Yeah, I get your argument. Lucy, you want to say anything to what Bobby just said, or should I just move on to catching up with what we have in the chat?
Yeah, as usual, Bobby has said some things that would probably get some people pretty worried. So maybe you and I are here to counterbalance whatever Bobby is going to feed the masses and make them worried. The ones that weren't worried before will probably become worried. Yeah, I do get the feeling about Thomas being is here for the long term, and if it looks like it's not like making an attempt to integrate the youth, then we might actually need to worry about that, because that's not good enough. If we are going to have an academy, why, except we want to be having like a farm where we just train and sell. We need to find a way to integrate them, because we are bringing out some very good talent from here. So at least, because this the football market is going to only go up. It's going to continue costing higher and higher. This Sterling we got today, if we try and go for this same profile of player again in the next 5 years, the amount is going to cost more. So it's not going to be sustainable to just keep buying foreign players or maybe scouting foreign players when we have players in our backyard. And at the same time, I think there's also there's a quota of English players. We can still get them from other clubs anyways, but there's a quota of English players and homegrown players you're supposed to have in your club, which we could use from Cobham to satisfy that. We must not use all the players we train, but I feel like if we are going to keep on investing in the academy, we might as well get something fruitful from it. That's all. The Malangsa or Colwill issue, I'm not really going to touch that, because I really want to trust the manager. I trust the manager completely on when it comes to personnel, but this youth to first team is looking shady.
Yeah, it's looking the chance again. The truth remains again. If we don't give the youth a chance, it creates a problem for us. One that will be very difficult to solve, because if the academy players sense that there's no path for them to the first team, and then it will be very, very difficult to attract the best talents in the world. Let me quickly catch up the chat, Bobby. It looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, I just want to add to that to bring some perspective, because yes, I'm being brutal. I give it as it is, but then at the same time, there is perspective to it all, because we can't lose sight of the fact that Tuchel is working with Conor Gallagher. He is working with Billy Gilmore. He is working with Ethan Ampadu. He is working with Dijon Sterling, added to the Cobham boys that we've got that are full graduates anyway. So the youth are there. Is just this particular player, who, mind you, is only 19 and still has some length of contract left. So it wouldn't be that, ridiculous to send him out on loan or something. But I still think that he's good enough. If you're good enough, you're old enough. I think he's good enough to be included ahead of Malang Sarr. If you have a team full of academy graduates, it doesn't matter as long as they're good enough. That's all I'm saying. And I am concerned that he would even rate Malang Sarr at all after the disaster. Malang Sarr has had plenty of opportunity and he hasn't proved himself. So why not try a youngster? That's just the point I'm making. And by the way, all this Barcelona, I'm sick of Barcelona. All these people advising players to go to Barcelona, they don't have the interest of those players at heart. That club is unstable.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Thank you again for that input. Just Viola says, forget about Dembele. It's not happening to us. Again, you could argue that given the fact that after all this nonsense we're hearing in the media, and then he's taking 40% wage cut. I just don't know why. Again, we'll talk about it even more. Coach, do you think we can close the gap? At this point, from what is happening, that doesn't mean I'm panicking. I'm just being factual here. It looks like the gap will even widen even further if they stay as they are right now. But I think if we do good business in the market, there's a chance we'll close the gap and do even better than just closing the gap. But that's all I can say at this point. Good question, by the way. I know you're just trying to see what I will tell you. In life, no limits, coach, I am actually referring to the players he supposedly wants. I love TT, but he will be under immense pressure if he gets it wrong. Nowhere to hide. That is, again, you can say the tradition at Chelsea, or modus operandi at Chelsea, is that if Todd Boehly will be a bit different, there's a chance he decides, okay, we made too many chances, let's give him more time. But the truth is, if we sign all the players he wants, like you've mentioned, and he underperforms, I think the jury will be out for him. But we'll see what happens. Again, just Aviola, yes, I say Rafinha either. We'll see what happens. Again, the rumors are that they can't get them both, but I'd say they still be able to get them both if they get the money they get them from the sales of their assets. Bobby is speaking facts as usual. Again, says, let me see. We let the best CB in the world go. Who are you referring to? Can you let me know? Oh, you're talking about Antonio Rudiger. Well done at Chelsea. Yeah, again, kudos to them if you want to say that. If Marlon Sai is given higher priority than Levi Colwill, I will lose my cool. Broya may leave. Ian Matson may also. I know not all academy players will make it, but why not give them a chance? Again, I hope he get. I hope Levi Colwill gets the chance he deserves. Again, if he gets a priority over Marlon Sai, again, I wouldn't be happy either. I think we can actually keep both players and not even spend in that area. Levi Colwill has proven he's able to do it. The only time I would have advocated for Levi Colwill to stay on loan was if Huddersfield, if they won the playoffs game and make it to the Premier League, then he still be on a high. He still be, again, with that bond he had with that team that made it to the playoffs, he'd be comfortable playing one more year with them in the Premier League. But that hasn't happened. But I think he deserves a chance. He's a fine player overall. Lose your cool. It's happening, unfortunately. We'll see what happens. Rudiger had no intention of signing for us. Again, I'd argue that too, because, again, he knew right before time. But that's another argument for another day. He knew before time that if he leaves on a free, he'd get more money from payouts, even though Madrid will be paying him less than we offered him. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Chelsea all the way says, if you want to compete with elite clubs like City and Liverpool, you need to replace Rudiger with a Bremer, De Ligt and Koulibaly. That's at least a solid base. And man is going for Ake. For some reason, not known to us. And again, why would we pay that much money for Ake while we have Levi Colwill? And again, there's a chance he lets the kid go out on loan. I really do not want to see that happen. Sarr needs to go. Again, it remains to be seen if the manager thinks the same. But the board, as usual, again, yes, Bobby is spot on. Tuchel hasn't shown so far that he gives youth a chance. I really will change my opinion about him if he refuses to give our academy players a decent chance. Again, I started sensing that may well, be one of the problems he will have with Chelsea fans. When we had, what's his name, that played on the left-hand side for us in a cup game, I've forgotten the kid's name, and we were looking to see him in subsequent games, but that didn't happen. In most cases, not even on the bench. But that's by the way. We see what happens again. Are
you talking about Harveyville?
Yeah, I'm talking about Harvey. Is it Harveyville? Not Harveyville, actually. He played. Was it Harveyville that played in the left-hand side of the match? I think he had an assist for Alonso. So I forgot who that was, but I remember the name, and I'll talk about him. True, this Tuchel guy is a strange guy. Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic, Cho, Lukaku all want to leave. Says all the earlier fans realize the better. Again, that those players want to leave doesn't change my opinion of him. Again, it says something isn't quite right But that's not what I'm here to discuss at this point. Being saying for most, he wanted to use skates. We'll see what happens. It's not late yet until the transfer window closes and the season starts. We'll see the players we have on lined up. Every day I wake up, I go on to football and I don't see official transfers from CFC. It makes me cry. I don't even have enough tears now. Yeah, I get your point. I give Tuchel all the players he wants. Anything less than top 4, I am Tuchel out. Again, good argument right there. Again, let's just go into what we have to talk. Bobby, I wanted to ask you this question. It's looking like the news out there is that we're edging closer to securing the signing of Nathan Ake, and that we've agreed personal terms with him. And when that happens, usually agreeing at terms with the club, the selling club isn't usually you can say isn't a problem. So we're hearing that we're going to pay something north of 50 million for him. Is that something you're comfortable with, or you think we shouldn't even be looking at him? Like, I know you already talked about him in the past, but what your thoughts?
Look, Nathan Ake is a Chelsea boy. He's a Cobham graduate. That is one thing that goes in his favour. And if you notice, people that come from our academy, they conduct themselves in a certain way. And Chelsea is always, always up there in line of respect for them. So if he comes to the club, I know he will give his all. They always love the club. They never stop loving the club wherever they go, anywhere in the world. Now, the thing about this is that Nathan Ake is no barnstorming signing. He's going to be the utility player he is at City. Yes, he can rotate left wing back. Yes, he can rotate left centre back. Although you know my opinion about that, I think he's challenged physically, and that is a very physical position. And he can play CDM very effectively. In fact, his level of physicality will probably be better suited in that position. So he's a useful player to have. He is, and he will fit in. He knows Chelsea. He's played here before. It's a little bit of unfinished business. He had aspirations to be in the first team. He won the league with Chelsea before he left. So it's not the worst of signings. But yes, yet again, we need to be strategic. Do we fill Man City's pockets with money and offload their wage bill only to have them maybe go and look for a target that we are messing around with? Because they won't mess around. If they're after anybody, they will drop whatever is required and take their player. They don't mess around, do all this nonsense. Oh, we're haggling. That was a Marina thing. All that nonsense. That's child's play. This is big boy stuff. You want a player, you get the player. Nobody's messing around. They put the zeros behind the figure and they expect you to drop it. If you don't drop it, someone else will drop it. Why can't we see that? If you can't afford it, walk away. It's simple. It's just simple stuff. But all this playing around, let's haggle the price. Let's see, let's play with Bayern. We got a better academy. We got a better project. Well, this is nonsense. If City wanted that player, they would just go pay the money, take their player and go. So as I keep saying this, I don't like that. So, but coming back to your question about Nathan Ake, okay, if Tuchel wants him, fine. Apparently Tuchel rates him more than Jules Kounde. Fine, he's the coach. I'm not. I know he's a good utility player. Is he worth over 50 million? Arguable, but that's the price that he's been set at. Funny how we can drop 50 million for a player like that, but a generational talent like De Ligt, we're haggling. That's just that just amuses me. We have no problem dropping money for a player like that, dropping money for Rafinha, a player that it's arguable if we really need him, and yet we're haggling over De Ligt. A position and a player that we desperately need. I just find it extremely amusing, to say the least.
Yeah, it is indeed amusing. Luisa, you want to add anything to that before we move ahead?
Yeah, Bobby, for So, for once, Bobby said something I've already said earlier, and I actually think it's right. If we are going to be dropping 50 on Nathan, I don't see why we shouldn't even be able to drop at least 80 on someone like Ligt, who we know. Because people are saying is a utility player. We don't necessarily need a utility player first. We do need to fill up the positions we already have missing in our starting 11 already. We need to fill in with at least specialist players if we want to stay competitive. We don't need a player who knows a bit about everything. We need a player who knows their stuff about the position they are supposed to play and do execute their duties properly. Someone like Delete, we should be able to pay at least 80 to 70, around this 80 to 70, because we are dropping some 50 for Nathan Ake. Nathan Ake is not, I don't know, Bobby said it's arguably worth that amount because that's what he's been set at. I don't know. I don't care about what is what, but I feel like if you are going in for Nathan for 50 million, you should still be good. You should have the money to go in for Delete at 80 million because it's worth that much if Nathan is going to be worth 50.
Yeah, let's use the simple argument that makes a perfect sense. Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand what we're doing there. We're prioritizing a player who isn't a specialty player, who's, again, hasn't played that much for a while, and there's a chance we'll lose a kid who's played nearly 40 games in the championship, and it's done quite well and probably better positioned to, to fulfill that role for us. But that's, by the way, I know we have 95 people watching and we have 33 likes. Please, if you haven't, take a second to like the video. I'm going to try to catch up in the chat. My viewer said, hi. So did you make a research on Connor? No, I haven't. I have to be honest with you. Again, no research. Don't want Cody. Again, you're getting some responses in the chat already. Everton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Leicester City, all want a Colwill. Only Tuchel doesn't see his qualities as strange. Again, let's not jump to conclusions yet. He's still part of the traveling team. I'm hearing if at the end of the day he says, okay, he doesn't want him, then that's when we start asking the question, why did we pay that much money for Ake? You could argue actually Colwill is better on the ball. You see him, how calm he's on the ball. His ball sense amazes me at his age. Again, we'll see what happens. Hey, Coach and Chelsea brothers, I hope you all are happy and ready for Rafinha to be confirmed on Monday. Dembele will stay at Barcelona and Chelsea will sign Rafinha. Again, if that happens, then you'll be our number one source in terms of transfer news. I will be happy to have Rafinha rather than Dembele. Dembele, I'm still not sure if he's overcome his the injury issues that he's had in the past, and there are other, he comes with quite a lot of baggage that it won't be that simple to deal with. But that's, by the way, here. True says it was stated TT happy to sell Hakim, Pooley, and Werner. Again, what about the squad depth? That begs the question: what happens if we sell all these players and then just end up bringing in only 3-4 players? What happens? We're Chelsea, and we'll still have quite a lot of games to play this year, even though we will not be playing in the Club World Cup or not that. But there's still quite a lot of games to play. FA Cup, again, the two cup competitions, Champions League, the Premier League, and all that. So again, we need them. Kit Broyer and Gilmore, I believe that these are the players we need for the cup games and some EPL games when we need to rotate ahead of big Champions League nights. We'll see what the manager does. That's always my response. Can we sign Koulibaly and Ake? It's not up to us. Again, it just seems as if the club has cooled down their interest on Koulibaly. Why? I don't know. There's still a chance that they may well still be talking to the player, but there's no way to tell. Again, we've learned to, just to collectively put everything we see out there, bulk them up and then see them as all speculations. But we'll see what happens. We are being linked to quite a lot of Dutch players. Serginho Dest is also linked. Sure, he reps the US, but he's born and bred in Netherlands. Yes, that's in fact the truth. Gabriel Jesus looked amazing on his debut in the friendly game with Arsenal. Do you think he's a player we should have done more to sign? On the surface, overall, the way he plays, because he's a hybrid, he's a forward, and he can fulfill the number 9 role in a hybrid way. you could argue he's a Thomas Tuchel kind of player, but again, it's not up to me. We've all called for the manager, for us to back the manager, and if backing the manager means forget not us not looking at what's his name again, Gabriel Jesus, then I'm all for it. Again, he would. Do I think he would have done well for us? I think so. Again, but that's by the way. Here we see. Remember Gilmore balling in the FA Cup against Liverpool. Essentially, we give him a chance. It remains to be seen if that happens, and I don't think if we don't give him a chance, I don't think he stays, which I wouldn't want to see happen because he's a player I like, and I really do like him so much. Whatever we pay for Nathan Ake is worth every penny. The man had put any foot wrong. He hadn't put any foot wrong while playing for Manchester City. You think so? Some people think so. Otherwise, Man City plus TT may have a plan for him that we never thought about. Or envisage. Here's the thing. Do I think he's a flop at Man City? I'd say no. Pep usually takes time to integrate players, especially defensive players. He did the same with John Stones. There was a time actually people thought John Stones was going to leave the club, but that didn't happen. So again, I hope you get my point. And here we have Alex Becker's channel says, I wouldn't be surprised if City later goes of Kounde and gets him. I think actually we're getting Kounde, but let's see what happened. Again, we should have signed Jesus, but again, if the manager doesn't want him, it's not up to us. Marina, she's gone. Move on. Again, it's Boehly who's haggling, and I don't think anybody on the panel actually mentioned Marina at this point. I don't abide with this utility player stuff. Why Tuchel was playing players all over the place. That didn't help. Left wing back, right wing back, and whatever you mentioned there, that didn't help the case of those players. It's what 30 max. We need to incorporate young players in the team. Last season, we ought to have Aspie wouldn't be in the again. Aspie isn't leaving. I don't think he's leaving from what we're reading so far. I think he's staying and he's going to the US with the team. I think Aspie is more than just a player for us. Again, we need a spine in the team, and he doesn't even have to be playing a day in, day out to be part of the construct of the spine we're talking about. He understands the club very well. He knows the team very well, and we need some measure of continuity in terms of the spine we have in the team. Already gutted that we lost Rudiger. That's part of the play that makes up the construct of the spine we had in the team who's left. So we don't want to lose them all in this same window. We will have a serious problem. Bobby, is you believe that De Ligt is better than Ake? But remember, Ake is EPL proven, and De Ligt is coming up from another league. Please, people, Nathan will be a good buy. We're not arguing whether Nathan will be a good buy or not. The manager understands. He knows what he's seen in the player and why he's calling for the club to sign him. But here's the thing: paying anything north of 50 million, that's where the question comes in. Again, we'll see what happens. Nathaniel was Carvalho, Gallas, Labov, the Sayi, EPL proven. Again, yeah, that's no guarantee. That's the importance of this comment. Guarantee isn't whether you're EPL proven or not. Again, we'll see what happens. Aspie, EPL proven. Again, I am probably the only one who doesn't want Ake at the club. But but I rate Chalobah and Colwill. I rate them both a lot. The latter impressed at Huddersfield. I think we should assign at least one player versatile to cover there. Again, I get the argument there. And I'm going to come back to the panel. Still a certain Fender's gone. No replacement. Ake talks and City plans to replace him with Kounde. If that's the case, then we must be stupid to give them the money they're looking for. Why we still want Kounde? But we'll see what happens. I hope that's just a theory. So I want to start with you, Louisa. Let me start with deals. Sterling is at the moment 27, and when the rumors are that we've offered him a 5-year deal. So by the time we get to that point, he'll be plus. I think to extend for another year. It depends. Is that a good offer to be paying him that much money for 5 years, and in 3 years he'll be 30? He's 27 right now.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea. It's the right age for him to come It's about time, I reckon. But the money, the wages, I'm a bit aware of. 300k a week, which I was really thinking around 250, 200.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 300k in it, so you're gonna have to let this ride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I think the truth is we knew before time that his salary at Chelsea will be, if he eventually comes with us, will be something in enough of 300 because he's already earning 300 at Man City. You could argue his salary is the main reason why they don't want to extend his stay at the club because that would mean paying him more. So coming to Chelsea, again, I'm not surprised that he's earning more. But my concern is how old he's going to be. Why give him such a long-term contract? What if after 2 years he's not doing well? Then we're in serious trouble. Again, we have 96 people watching. Please keep liking the video to help us reach more people. We have 35 likes already, but we can do better than that. Please, if you haven't, take a second to drop a like on the video to help us reach more people. Louisa, your thoughts on the duration, the length of the Sterling, rumored length of the Sterling deal? Okay, it looks like Louisa isn't close by. Bobby, okay, she's here already.
I'm with you. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I saw the like the years we did give him contract for, it kind of got me thinking about why would we give someone a 27 5 years contract plus 1 year extension, which is essentially the contract is going to expire at 32. But you need to understand that this is like almost, he's trying to calculate, this could be his last big deal. If he gets, and that could also be his terms for not asking for more than what he gets at City, like, because he's already getting around 300 at City. He could have easily like held that for maybe 350, 370, around that price. But him still collecting around that 300, because I don't think he got anything close to 350. That's why it's not reported as 350. It's still reported as 300.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the length of the contract is just to make sure that he gets enough money. That probably is terms of keeping it at that 300, because I don't see him getting a bigger move than this again at any point in his career. Because even if he stays at Chelsea, even for 2 years or 3 years, it will be 29, 30. I don't see him getting, except maybe he's by some miracle a late bloomer and he ends up tearing it up for the next 1-2 years at Chelsea, and everybody starts coming after his signature. I feel like the length of the contract is affected by the salary, to make sure that he gets more out of the deal compared to, this is his big deal. Just like Rudiger, it's a business, and we needed his signature. Maybe that was his term, that we keep him on the books for at least 5 years with 1 year extension option.
Sorry, I was on mute and I didn't even know it. Bobby, I was asking you, I said, I know you're not planning to stay too long with us, but so I'm going to be coming to you as quickly as I can. Hearing if that's a fact, if that's factual, let me phrase it like that we've offered him a 5-year deal with 1 year extension. That's 6 years. That's about in 3 years he'd be 30. I think this sort of deal, I think wouldn't we have been better off offer him at least start with 3 years, then extend his contract if he does better, if he does well at the club. Your thoughts on the fact that we're hearing that it's 5 years plus 1 year extension, that's 6 years in total?
I mean, I've shared a lot about how I feel about Raheem Sterling. But one thing I can say in his favor is that, to be fair to him, he has technically taken a pay cut, because if he signed an extension at City, he would be due some sort of pay rise. But coming to Chelsea, he's effectively just taking the same wages that he had at City, which is 300k a week. Now, the duration of the contract is interesting. Maybe that was the bargaining point, that, if he's going to take that, these are footballers. They have their families. They want as much security as possible. So
it is business to them after all.
Yeah, I mean, it's their living. So for security, he wanted to make sure he got 5 years. And this was the sticking point with Rudiger. Although Rudiger's a bit older, he wanted security. And and those days we were not signing players for more than a year over 30. And we were sticking to that. And also he wanted the sign-on fee. Which, look now, if we'd paid him, it would still be far cheaper than what we've got to go for. But that aside, that's a different matter. But yeah, I mean, paying him 300k a week with the security of a 5-year deal, okay. I mean, the way I look at it is that if we've got the faith to go for him at all, so, 3 years, why not 5 years? If you really believe in this player that much, then you should be able to believe that he will still be delivering for you for a considerable period of time. That's just how I look at it. So this is a Thomas Tuchel signing. He has to live by this. And, if it doesn't work, he has to take the responsibility. I love Thomas. I'm not saying anything about, go or this and that. But I do believe in accountability. I do believe that if you make a mistake in a position of leadership, you should hold your hand up high and take that on the chin. And, I'm not saying Sterling is a mistake. That's left to be seen. But that is his signing. And he has to nail his name to the mast of Raheem Sterling. And the 5-year contract is going to be given. Period. We haven't even seen him yet.
Go ahead. While I'm still with you, Bobby, I wanted to ask you, how important is it that we keep Cesar Azpilicueta?
Well, at the moment, I think it's very important because of who he is. I know we have Thiago Silva, but Thiago has just come. I don't know how good his English is. And everybody respects him. But Cesar has been at Chelsea for 13, 14 years now? About 13 years now. He came just before the UEFA Cup win. So what's that? About 13 years, 11 years. I don't know. So, it's good. He is the captain. He has lost form. So his duty really will be to instill the Chelsea spirit in the team. A bit like John Terry did in his last season. He hardly played, but in the dressing room, he was a force and, a leader and an encourager. So we would need that if he stays. Yet again, this is why I'm so keen on De Ligt. De Ligt, this is his nature. You have to sometimes just put your money where your mouth is. Look around all of world football. Is there anybody who is available that would fit Chelsea better? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Go for it. I can't understand the hesitation. But having said that, there's hesitation everywhere. We're supposed to have finished this deal with Sterling. Where is he? So,
I'm not sure where we're not sure where we are with the Sterling deal. Any update on that?
Coachella.
Uh-huh.
Can I ask Bobby a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bobby, do you think it's a big L if we miss out on Rafinha and Dembele?
Rafinha, I don't think it wouldn't be a big L because I don't think there's anything else we can do. We've outbid Barcelona. There's nothing else. It's down to the player, really. Even Leeds have sold him to us as far as they're concerned, but they can't force him out if he doesn't want to go. So Rafinha, less so. De Ligt, absolutely, because I don't think we've really done enough. I think I think we bid, what was it, 60, 70, something like that. I think we're close. But now there's no point messing around. Drop the 80, take your player. And if he's lost to Bayern, that's a big L for Todd Boehly.
Chelsea.
Big L. This is his time. They are supposed to be making their mark. They've just bought the club, so they can't really afford to be losing out to clubs that are slightly disadvantaged financially to Chelsea at this point in time.
Yeah, they have to start well.
Yeah.
They have to start well. Louisa, coming to you, thoughts on the importance of us keeping Cesar Azpilicueta?
Yeah, for Bobby, I don't think Azpilicueta was here for our first Champions League, so that will make him just under 10 years.
I think he arrived just after that.
Yeah, so maybe around 9 years. But I don't, I'm not seeing the upside, especially if we do. And Thiago Silva does not speak English also, so that so Bobby was questioning it. He doesn't speak English, but I think he's trying to learn. But that's not even the case. I did want Azpilicueta to stay, especially after the sale, just kind of like in the transition phase, just like but I don't really know what we're doing. I feel like I don't think we need Azpilicueta to stay if we're going to try and do a rebuild. We could just rebuild around the new set of people we want. Keeping Aspi on, especially in his form and his age, and he wants to go back to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any like the upside is that we do have our leader, our main leader, but the leader is the leader of like a squad that is going to be half gone by the time the season begins. So I think would be better off with like starting all over, and it doesn't even have to be Thiago Silva, anybody. That's why the Ligt deal also, because I feel like the Ligt has this he has the experience already. He probably won't come in right away and be like the voice and the leader of the group, because maybe he might try to feel his way around the group. But we do need players like that who can fill in this leadership role. That's why I was also like I personally wanted Koulibaly also, because I see Aspi leaving. I don't want him to stay. He's a legend. He has done a lot for us, but I don't think I want him to be here for this 1 year where we are going to go through like a rebuild. It's like having Aspi would be a crush for us, because we'd be pushing things down the line. Let's just rip the band-aid off and do everything from scratch.
Absolute sense. Absolute sense. I agree. I actually agree. I think that's a very sensible way forward. I mean, people like Reece James, Mason Mount, they can all pick up the leadership mantle. Thing about leaders is that you don't know them until you give them the opportunity. And sometimes these leaders hide in the shadow of the incumbent leader. For example, who knew that Aspi was going to be who he is? He was always overshadowed by your John Terry's and big characters, Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard. So he was in the background. But when they left, he stepped up. So you're right. Perhaps he should go now and let the others step up.
Yeah, I think why that makes sense, I think I'd argue otherwise, because we're losing the spine of the team, and I think it's important because he doesn't have to play every game. He doesn't even have to play at all. But again, that's my argument. But I understand what you guys are talking about. Adam says, Coach, realistically, when will we announce a Rafinha? A question I think you're better positioned to answer, given that you're the one that's assuring us that we're going to sign Rafinha. And he gets, I think you already said he will be announced next week or so. I know this player's head is spinning, and deals now are dominated by more and more and more money. Again, I hope it's sorted out. So you're not sure of what you've told us before, because you told us we're getting him. You sounded very confident we're going to get him. Kimson says Thiago Silva doesn't need to speak English to be the leader. In his aura and his CV makes him, again, that's a good argument right there. And actually, I think he leads. He's able to lead by the way he plays. He plays on the pitch. Again, that's my argument. I say Chelsea all the way. Sell Aspi. He's a legend of the club, but his time is up. Time to go. I'd argue otherwise. Not getting point of paying a sign-on in millions on a player who has no sell-on value. False economy. Sign a player on lower salary. Selling on for a profit makes it easier. Can you be specific? This argument makes sense In fact, it is a delicious comment. But what player do you have in mind when you wrote that? I want to know. This is our new era. Our new era is a scam.
He
I
was
talk
talking
about
about
Kakao Murray.
Raheem Sterling.
Oh, he's talking about Raheem Sterling. Okay, yeah, that argument makes sense. Again, because you could argue no selling value. He'd have to be, and that is honest, and that is an exceptional form for us under 1 year, 2 years for him to have a very, sizable selling value. We should have finished the Ligt deal by now. Why the hesitation from Chelsea? I think Bobby has asked that question 1,000 times, and we're going for Nathan Ake for something enough of 50 million. That I do not understand. And we have a talent that will become part of us if we are able to secure his signature for years to come, given his age. And if we paid attention, the Bayern president said, yes, they are well equipped in the defensive area, but they want a player as vocal as the Ligt. That shows you, again, why so many clubs want the kid in their club. But that's me. Again, I hope we get him. If there's 200 million to spend and you can pay in installments, what is really holding back all these deals? 6 players promised by Boehly, of which we don't know if that's in fact the truth. You can pay 30 million per player. That amount to 180 million. I think it makes sense. But again, we don't know what they're doing there. We'll find out. Says it's for it. Okay, but if you say so, that's up to you. 200 million plus sell, so that's more money. And I doubt it's be clocking around 400 million. With Sterling signing for Chelsea, I think Chelsea does not need Rafinha. With Werner, Pulisic, and Ziyech are still around. And how are we sure that those players will still be around? And there are rumors out there. I think they rumored that Werner, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't part of the camp as of yet. He part of the photo shoot for the new jersey. Or in the summer, you can say theories out there as for why he's in part of the photo shoot. But I don't know. I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Is Werner part of the photo shoot? Ziyech leaving, his Insta post more or less confirmed a new chapter. Yep, he's practically confirmed that he's leaving the club. I'm confident of Rafinha, but Barcelona tricks and ploys. You can never be 100% confident of anything nowadays. Okay, there you go. Now I get your point. Says, for me, make James the captain if Jorginho is leaving. I don't think that would make sense if you still have a player with the pedigree of Thiago Silva, except if he's not able to speak English. That may well be a problem, but he doesn't have to, be that vocal to lead. But we'll see what happens. Now, I'm going to come back to the panel, and the question I want to ask is this. The Ronaldo thing, it's not going away, but we're seeing conflicting reports out there. Some reports say that Chelsea are seriously considering going for him. Some are saying that Tuchel hasn't considered, having Ronaldo in his team. It's just out there. I don't think, again, I'm going to repeat myself. If you ask me overall, I think those are absolute nonsense. I don't think we really want him. Those your thoughts?
Ronaldo. I feel that Tuchel's not really interested in him.
Already interested in him? How about the reports that he said that we're hearing that he hasn't considered having him in his team?
When he said that?
No, it's just a report. Just as the same way you're saying Tuchel already wants him in his team, and you haven't heard him say it openly. So you didn't speak with him, and he didn't tell you that. That's the same way we're hearing that he hasn't considered having Ronaldo in his team.
Ronaldo, I feel that it's a dunno one with him, because if he comes into Chelsea, he's gonna cause uproar with the how much money he's on, and he's gonna want everything about him. That's another thing as well. What you got to take into mind, and we've already had a player clashing with Tuchel, and we don't want that. So for me, I don't want Ronaldo nowhere near Chelsea.
Luigi, your thoughts on the conflict? I think for me, I'd try now. I will try my best not to talk about him on Chelsea perspective another day, except if some other reports emerges and I see like it's serious. But your thoughts on what we're hearing so far? Louisa, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry, come again. The thing was going out.
The Ronaldo reports, conflicting reports. Some say Thomas Tuchel wants him, just as Dale's argued. Some say Thomas Tuchel hasn't even considered having him as part of his squad. Some say we're seriously considering going for him.
Yeah, I think I've said this earlier already. Like, I don't think, even till now, I don't think Thomas wants him. But that's the thing. There's what Thomas wants, then there's what the board wants. Todd going into these transactions himself without like appointing someone or leaving Marina in charge just feels like he knows what he wants. He could have easily left Marina in charge for this window and try and find like a director of football or someone to handle the negotiations if he wasn't prepared for what the football business is going to be about. Todd could want him. Todd might not even be the one who wants him. Maybe the consortium wants him because of the commercial value. They could easily start making a profit on the club just by signing Ronaldo alone. What Thomas wants, what the board wants, that could be conflicting. And I told you before that it could be that Thomas might be, how do I put it? He might be convinced to use CR7. Maybe, okay, if you are going to get CR7 for maybe 1 or 2 years, then you get this certain amount of players, or you get these players you want. He could be convinced to get him because it's a business. Todd is essentially Thomas' boss. Todd can as well not even consult Thomas and just say, yeah, this is CR7, we've signed him for the club. Thomas has no say in it, except maybe he wants to resign and he doesn't want the job anymore. So I don't think Thomas wants him. The board could want him, but there's really no way for us to actually say. You can make a case for why the board wants him, you can make a case for why Thomas doesn't want him, but till these people come out and say this is what's going on, we are only just speculating and making educated guesses.
Bobby, your thoughts if you're still there with us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I have any thoughts. I don't see any evidence that we've even made any kind of approach for Ronaldo. There's nothing like that. So because there's nothing like that, it's even more of a rumor than any of these other rumors associated with people like De Ligt. Because at least we've made an offer for De Ligt and we've made the offer for Rafinha. But this is a ghost story, just like the one about the sporting midfielder. It's a ghost story. Nobody's really offered anything.
That one is actually coming back again.
Well, okay, that's fine. But, to me, a story will only start to have any kind of legs once a bid is made. If there's a bid made for that guy, okay, fine. Now we know we're talking. We've got a real story. But at the moment, we know that we're in fantasy territory. People journalists are just projecting their affiliations and just spinning the rumor mill. And at the moment, Cristiano Ronaldo is just a rumor. I don't really see, for me, it's not something I've actually put my mind to. I have said that I don't want him. Yes, I see that he will probably hold a financial attraction for business people. How much that would really be worth at the age of 37, 38 is debatable. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that's just nothing.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you on that one. I'm going to move on, trying to catch up with those we have on or in the chat. Bobby, if at any time you're ready to leave, don't worry. I understand that because I know it's very late where you are right now. It says J Town Boy says it's Rafinha still coming to Chelsea, installing Ake and Dembele. Why do Chelsea still have a list of deals to happen? Time is going. Preseason is upon us. Please keep Broya and develop him. Again, it's a difficult one. It's not up to us, but we'll see what the manager does. Again, I still believe we'll have a good window by the time the window shuts. And we have 87 people watching. If you haven't Please keep liking the video. And we have just 47 likes. Let's shoot for at least 100 likes since we don't have that many people following today. But there's a chance that changes because the show is still on. Again, Trent Brown says, why is Werner still here on 272K bet week? Sell him for 30 million, and his wage over 40 weeks is equal to 13.6 million. That's 43.64 million for us to spend on someone else who can actually play. Here's the thing. The question is, there's a chance Thomas Tuchel values him. Do I want Werner to start the club? I'd say no, because there's a chance the issue he's had since his joiners may continue, to happen. So it's not up to us. It comes down what the manager wants to do. Maybe he preferred to do his fellow German a little favor. We don't know, but it remains to be seen what happens. Akim says, CR7 wouldn't be a Tuchel signing. That's the truth. And I think we've argued that here. If ever we sign a CR7, I'd argue that he's not a Thomas Tuchel signing, again, because the owners are who we know are profit focused, may well be signing the player just for the commercial, viability that he brings to the club. Again, that's my argument. So please, thank you again. I think the likes has gone up to 51 likes. Let's shoot for at least 100 likes by the end of the show. And I'm going to repeat myself again. I'd rather you like the video than you donate into the channel. Your likes, you being part of the show, you watching the show, even when you're not in the chat, you sharing the videos, those things do more for the channel. It helps us reach more people, and it helps the channel grow as fast as it is growing right now. So please, if you haven't, please do take a second to like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Kimso says, when Tuchel talked about CR7 was in 2021. Yeah, people easily, they dig up all those things and use it to say, okay, look, this is happening. A prime example will be how they dug up Neymar saying, the story of Neymar saying he will die on the pitch for this man. Forgetting there's a more recent video showing him practically celebrating the firing of Thomas Tuchel from PSG. But that's, by the way, CR7 is my guy, but his ego, again, I like him as a player, but I don't think he'd be good for us. CR7 already said he's willing to take a pay cut. I get your argument. I'm sensing, actually, that True Blue doesn't have a problem with CR7 joining the club. Again, his salary is not that's the most pronounced issue for me. He comes with a lot of positives, and also likewise a lot of negative. But it's not something I'm willing to go into right now. Even if he decides to take a pay cut, that's not enough for me. There are other areas where I think it causes issue. Is he willing to press? That's another good question. Because if Thomas Tuchel changes the system to accommodate CR7, because he can, we all know that he cannot press. Under Ole, he was basically passenger on the pitch, while every other player on the pitch were running. Other players on the pitch were running down their lungs, to help the team win. So let me start with you, Louisa. Your thoughts with this question: is he willing to press? Would you ask questions of Thomas Tuchel if we eventually sign a CR7? As we know, he doesn't press, and the manager tweaks the system to accommodate him. What are you going to do?
No, I don't. If we do sign CR7, you know my position on that. Any player we sign, I'm going to support the player. If we do sign CR7 and we do change our style of play to suit him, that's fine and good. But I would like for him to keep up this the same intensity when we let go of CR7 eventually and sign others. We should be able to change our formation to suit the players we do have on ground. And someone like CR7, who is like a huge personality, you can't have him on the pitch and not be playing to his strengths. That would just be a disadvantage to us.
Yeah, I agree with you. It wouldn't make sense to make exception for one player and not the other. I think that begs the question. Jules, you have anything to say for that?
Nah, let's move on.
All right, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. Tribute says, Kim, so who presses a low block defense? Not getting into a lengthy debate, but I get the argument that the two statements signing would be the latest CR7. Again, we'll see what happens. I agree Chelsea needed a transition with removing all the figures from the board. and maybe let them go after the transfer window. We should have waited for the transfer window, as we heard they had planned to do in the first place. But apparently something changed that made them change their mind. I don't know what it is. I agree Chelsea needed a transition without removing. I think I've read something similar there. Barca haven't unmatched the Rafinha offer. All they have offered is 60 million euros. Chelsea offered 60 million pounds. Big difference. Chelsea will eventually beat Barca to secure the signature of the man, except if they had some sort of, what you could argue, a gentleman agreement during Todd Boehly's meeting with Laporta in Spain. But we'll see what happens. We're not sure what actually they discussed during that meeting, but I think I'll come back to that in a bit. Not bothered either way. If we don't get him, won't cry. If we get him, so be it. I support 11 Chelsea shirts of playing, irrespective of whom is on the pitch. That's such a delicious comment. You could argue the comment of the day so far. I says, please, Chelsea fans should urge the club to sign CR7. I doubt if the fans' opinion matter in terms of signing players. It usually comes down to what the manager wants, or if the club wants to go for a player with a commercial value or a big name player just to elevate the status of the club in the footballing world. I doubt what the fans think matter at all. Okay, Tribute, I say even Bayern offered 75 million euros. Chelsea offered their money in pounds, from which has more value. That's why Juve haven't accepted the Bayern bid. Again, that argument to me, if that's the truth, it makes sense. Chelsea will not sign CR7. Nathaniel Obosi, I think the same too. We need a Rafinha no matter what. I think we still get him. I'm hopeful we get him. What's happening to our interest in Dembele? I think we may well transition into talking about Dembele. Jackson Kelvin said, please, we don't need CR7. I'd argue the same message to Rafinha. Just go to Barca. Leave us alone. We don't want players that do not want to play for us. That's another serious, way to see it. Again, I saw something that I said, let's look at this J-Town boy argument. Louisa, can you comment? What we're hearing right now is that the Dembele camp and Laporta, and again, in the Barcelona camp, they've come to an agreement that the only thing left is for Barca to accept that agreement. That just doesn't make sense to me. And let me repeat myself again, that they have come to an agreement, right? The only thing that is left is Barca to accept the agreement. It sounds somehow, to me, what sort of sense does that make? Let me start with you. Okay, Louisa, you go ahead, because you've already unmuted your mic. I know how difficult it is to unmute your mic when you use it.
I also heard that he has agreed to take a 40% pay cut. Like, nothing coming out of Spain right now makes any sense.
It doesn't.
I feel like everything we are hearing from Spain right now, we should just be taking with a grain of salt or looking at it as fiction. Nothing I've heard from Spain that I'm like, okay, this is definitely a fact, because everything just sounds ridiculous.
It sounds redonkulous, and it's not just ridiculous. So again, it's just, okay, I'm serious about it, because every time I read something that's coming out of there, it just makes me laugh. It just doesn't make sense that he'd take 40% of pay cut, and then again, there's no guarantee they'd pay him that already, because they owe in place salaries, and plus they have an agreement in place. It's up to Barca to accept that. Ousmane Dembele and Barcelona have both reached a basic agreement over a new deal contract until 2024 with a 40% salary cut, and then the further says that Barca is waiting for Barca to accept that. I'm not sure the type of sense that makes, because again, we'll see what happens. I won't cry over it if it doesn't come for us.
Exactly, and you said it earlier. You said it earlier that who are these people advising them? Because it feels like basic business.
Yeah, it was Bobby that said that. I have to say quickly. Yeah.
Who are these people advising them? It's just a basic business sense. I don't think Barca has apart from the name, they don't even have the players that they used to have, that used to be like, everybody want to be like, I want to play with this player, I want to play with Lionel Messi, I want to play with Ronaldinho. They don't have that again. Why would you tie your future to a club that looks like they are going to be in turmoil for the foreseeable future? We know they are going to get in financial injection before True Blues comes and tell me that they are going to be fine. We know they will be fine, but they are trying to do as much as possible to make sure that they are fine. That is meaning that your future is uncertain, and you are going to take a pay cut when someone in a career that has a limited time span. You are going to take a pay cut. You don't know if you get injured and your career is over. You don't know if you produce the same results that would make a club want to keep you. You have like your career does not span more than 25 to 30 years, and you are trying to make a gamble and tie yourself to a club that the future is uncertain.
And the club in question they have every right to terminate your contract.
Exactly, and Barca are trying to even make a contract with these players to make sure that they are covered 100% at the detriment of the player.
Yep. The prime example is the ridiculous buyer clauses on the contracts. Jules, give me your thoughts on on the Dembele conundrum.
I think that Dembele, I think he's had his mind set on where he wants to go to for a long time. I reckon Barcelona has been on his mind, but like you said, they've got money issues. They've got money problems. So
let's be careful how we say they got money problems, because the truth is they're able to sell their TV rights for 25 seasons and get a lot of money in. They're in debt. I think that's a better way to say it. They're in debt, but there are ways they can get money, instant money in a few days. They have a lot of them. But go ahead.
They owe PK money. They owe De Jong money. They're in a lot of problems. So I would say with Dembele, it's like another thing, like you said, with when Fabrizio said that about the contract, about it's up to Barcelona what the decision is. Now they might think, oh, look at the books, they can only afford one of them. So tomorrow we're gonna find out. I reckon tomorrow.
I hope so. I'm going to try to catch up with the chat. And if you're in the chat, if you have any questions, shoot it and we'll try to answer it. We have 81 people watching and we're closing into 100 likes. We're at 60 likes right now. We need just 40 more likes to get to 100 likes. And I'm going to say something that is the tradition here on Chelsea Perspective. Listen, the truth is, we'd rather you like the videos than donate to the channel, because the likes would do more for the channel than... Yes.
So what's your take on it? What's your take on the situation?
On the Dembele situation?
Yeah.
Like I've said, I started the comment on the Dembele by saying I'm confused. I'm not sure what's happening. The whole thing just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't. Because 1 minute we're hearing they can afford one of them. 1 minute we're hearing agreements been in place for both of them. So it's and it's up to Barcelona for what they're gonna be decision. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, because the truth is, again, it doesn't make any sort of sense. Not at all. Not even a pint of sense. So again, here's the thing. The tradition here is that we prefer you to keep liking the video to help us reach more people. You don't even need to donate. The likes go a long way. We already appreciate you being part of the conversation, watching the video, sharing the video, being part of the chat, and also telling more people about Chelsea Perspective. And if you haven't, please keep liking the video. We need 35 more likes to get to 100 likes, and I know we can get there. Please, if you haven't, take a second to like the video. If anybody says I can ask you to pay, tell them that Pastor Daniel Ansung had already paid for you. So thank you very much. I'm going to move on now. Please, we don't need CR7. I think I've read that. Message to Rafinha, just go to Barca. I think I've read that too. Did I somehow move back? Chelsea should get a clause from, Lawrence. RC Lawrence. He is a diehard Chelsea fan. That's the question I would have asked. Like, for instance, the clubs like Barcelona, clubs like Real Madrid, they don't joke with players that are even good enough who they hear say they want to play for their clubs. But in the case of Chelsea, I've had a goalkeeper say that, and he's good enough. And Klaus is good enough. His numbers aren't that bad this past season. So why aren't we looking at him? Louisa, can you please explain for me, for the life of me, why haven't we developed that culture of taking players who want to play for us seriously. Luis, if you're there, can you come in and tell me why that isn't happening?
Yeah, for the Klaus deal, I don't know whether it was the video surfacing of him being like he's a Chelsea fan that made it look like we were linked to him. But since then, since that video surfaced, I've not really seen anything coming from the club. But at the same time, I feel like Klaus is uh, not, for lack of a better word, it's not the high profile of the other targets, and it's not really in the like, it's not the prized possession of the transfer window. So we could very well maybe going for him, but it's not going to be making the headlines like CR7, Kounde, because of the Barca link. And the rest, we could still be going in for him because he's a decent player. We do need him, and we do need him in that position that he plays. So I'm not ruling Klaus out, but at the same time, I've not seen any other links since the video of him talking about Chelsea and people going into dig up his old tweets.
Dales, anything you want to say about that?
Yes, I want to talk about Claus. Claus. Well, we know the budget on Claus, the price that they're asking for, and it's a very cheap price, 10 million.
It's cheap. It will be an absolute steal. Go ahead.
I reckon we could go in there for a late bid and bid him when just before the Premier League starts. I reckon. So yeah, I reckon we'll bid for him soon. Well, we ain't heard nothing recently, but maybe we'll hear something soon.
I hope we hear something as soon as possible. Again, thank you very much for that. Let me try and catch up with the chat. Kimster, thank you for that delicious comment that got us thinking. You are too wrong. We need people who create in front to attack. Again, can you explain further, Andrew Cummins? You have the right to express yourself, and again, you have every right to say that somebody is wrong, but I'm not sure who you're talking about. Maybe you're talking to someone else. Is Ronaldo to Chelsea really happening? Again, like with Ake here, I think all those things we're seeing out there, they're just absolute nonsense. There's no substance to those stories, because we're also hearing that he said Jorge Mendes is talking with Bayern, who is looking likely to lose Lewandowski to Barcelona. So that makes more sense than us. But that's, by the way, what we need is defenders, not CR7. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Jackson Kelvin. We truly need to, but again, there's a chance that the club are looking at some defenders, but we don't know. So let's just be calm. Again, if the window shuts and they don't get defenders in there, they have quite a lot of questions to answer. Or Laseni a certain day, it sounds like my fellow Niger brother or sister. Chelsea needs a good defender, not just one. We need up to 3 good defenders. Maybe we already have 2 in our ranks or one of them in our ranks. It depends how the managers see them. Based on Barca's financial case, which would be a cheaper keeping Dembele or Rafinha, that is if they match Chelsea's price. Again, remember, Barca, they have a large debt in the billions, in 1 point something billion or so, but that doesn't mean they don't have cash at hand. They've sold some a percentage of their assets, and they're able to sell more. There are ways they can, get money as soon as a week or two, and be able to do transfer business. So if they really want to match Chelsea's offer, I think they can. I think they're just spending cautiously at this point because they don't want to compound the issue they found themselves in already. Chelsea defense is now poor. Again, we're bringing reinforcement, and I do believe by the time the window shuts, we'll do enough good business to be, to be okay in that department. The Spanish media, the German media are very, very biased and are favoring their home teams. No way Rafinha isn't excited with Chelsea. It's just that Barca is his dream team. Again, we've talked about it here. We also saw something that says Rafinha is open to coming to Chelsea if the Barca deal, if it falls through. But that's, by the way, Andrew Gomez says, and the best defense need to be the attack. You start from there. That's just the truth. I hate Barca, and not just you out there. I think I see a few friends of mine who sent me stuff that said if they liked Barca before, they started to hate them. Unconfirmed reports indicate that CR7 is heading to Bayern. Also, with Jesus and Raheem Sterling, I think Jesus is a better striker than Raheem. He showed that quality today. Chelsea must start moving. Again, I get your argument. I wanted Jesus over Sterling, but maybe the manager has a reason why he's decided. The manager prefers Sterling for a reason. I'm only listening to Nizar Kinsella, Fabrizio Romano, Matt Law, and Ben Jacobs. Media outlets are very biased. These windows, especially Sky, Germany, and Marca from Spain, they put out things that favor their teams and try to discourage other teams. If they sell the younger money owed is paid out of the fee, I see the attraction eternal UEFA Champions League football, challenging for the title, playing in front of 90,000 plus crowds, and their coach. So again, it makes sense why he may well. I'm coming. Just 1 second. It makes sense why he may well want to join Manchester United over Chelsea Football Club. Go ahead, Deals. You wanted to say something.
Talking about De Jong, have you heard the rumors that Tuchel wanted him at PSG?
No, I haven't. Go ahead, tell us about it.
Apparently, when he was in charge at PSG, he was very interested in taking De Jong from Barcelona to PSG. Oh, no. When he was at Ajax. He was at Ajax at the time, wasn't he?
I'm not sure where he was then, but again, your point is that as Tuchel wanted him at PSG.
Yeah, apparently he wanted him at PSG. That's what I've been told.
Mm. And for De Jong, we're also hearing that during the meeting with Todd Boehly, again, there's no way to confirm whether that's true or false, that they talked about the lead, again, De Jong, so to speak, but we'll see what happens. I'm not sure. We're not there. And thank you very much for that. I really wanted to know the problem of Chelsea with CT and Raheem Sterling. I don't think that's a problem, but you can also come up with your own theory. I'm thinking maybe the club wants to finish, the negotiations with that of Ake, and then maybe they're trying to pile up the players and reveal them at the same time. I'm not sure if that argument makes sense. You can say no, because the manager would want the Raheem Sterling to be completed, get his medical done, and then join the team for preseason, if you ask me. But do I think Chelsea are well and truly hard at work behind the scenes? Yes, they are. Be rest assured that is happening. But we're just frustrated because we're not seeing the signings for the men's first team coming. If we don't get nobody in, then don't want to come here. This season is going to be a mess for Chelsea. Again, if you think so, Kounde and Ake, the E-duo would be good. I think those two will be enough. Klaus literally said in an interview, you can go on YouTube. It's on MC Sports Channel. Yep. Again, with Aspie saying, will Klaus really join us? I think he would. Aspie will not be starting every game. And the club fighting to keep Aspie isn't really for his footballing abilities. I think there's more to it. He's an exemplary professional, and we need leadership in the team more than ever now. You could argue we still have Thiago Silva, we still have those in the midfielder. But then again, I think with Aspie, it's going to be different. Again, it's something, keeping him goes beyond his footballing ability. It's about the spine of the team. Yes.
I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to, are you on the stream, doing another stream tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely morning, evening, and also I think 3 shows tomorrow because frankly Saturday will also hold tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. I'm gonna call it a night. People, hit the like button. You know this is the best Chelsea channel at the moment. Yeah, go hit the like button, people. Bless up to Chelsea.
And thank you very much, Deals. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for always coming on.
Bye, Louise.
Yeah, bye, Deals.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, Barcelona wants everything. This is insane. Dembele, Rafinha, Kounde, Lewandowski, Azpilicueta, Marcelo. They also want Koulibaly. I think there's a few of them we don't know. Who do they think they are? They think they have the history. They think they can bamboozle every other club. It's as simple as that. As it stands, Chelsea is a top 8 contender with a weak defense. All Premier League clubs now know how to get points for Chelsea. Chelsea should use Rafinha's money and conclude the Ligt deal. Louisa, I'll have you coming for that one. You go ahead, your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think obviously, yes, you can say we have a weak defense because we literally have no defenders that were like, okay, this is our starting 11 defenders. So you can say we have a weak defense. If we do go into the season this very minute, top 8, I think top 8 might be generous, maybe top 10, but we are not going into the season with this current squads.
It's
There
as
is
simple
no
as
way
that. Go
I
ahead.
can. It's not even possible. Like, I've I've supported this club since I was a child. If we do go into this, it's not possible. Like, we shouldn't. Those are not the things we should be thinking about. We should be thinking about the players we are going to get in, because we are definitely going to get in players. We might not like the players we do get at the end of the day. We might think that the club overpaid for the players, but we are definitely going to get in players. Thomas knows what he wants. If I don't see Todd not bringing in players, he's not going to start off on a good foot with the fans. He's not going to off on a good foot as the owner of a club. He wants the club to continue on the upward trajectory that it is. He's a businessman, and winning is good business. We are definitely bringing in players. It's just a matter of how are we going to bring in these players? When are we going to bring in these players? But we will eventually. We are not going to end up as top 8. I feel like top 5. We should still be able to end in top 5 situation. Just like, I don't know if I should say just take calm, because your feeling of agitation is valid considering the way everything has been going on, and once we are trying to go in for a player and it looks like the talks has been advanced, we hear rumors of, okay, this club is not interested in the player also. So it kind of is frustrating. But yes, we have a weak defense because we have no defenders, but we are not going into the season with that defense.
Mm-hmm. Again, thank you very much for that update. If you're in the chat, again, please, if you have any questions, shoot it and we'll try to address it if we're able to. If not, we'll ask for help. Right now, we have 75 people watching and we have 67 likes. So if you haven't, please take a second to like the video and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Again, let's be realistic here. We're linked to top-class defenders such as, you could say, to high-profile defenders if you want to phrase it that way. Jules Kounde, Kalidou Koulibaly, Ligt. Am I missing anyone again? I'm not missing any of the defenders that we're linked to. I think just those 3 at the moment. Do you think we'd get 3 of them, Louisa?
I don't think we get 3 of them. I think realistically we get 1 of them. In a dream scenario, we get 2, but 3, I don't think we'll get 3 of them. I think the other clubs would not let us get 3 of them. Just like Bobby was talking about not giving City money for Nathan so that they don't go in for delay for Kounde Kounde. That is the same situation that we are going to have with other clubs. Other clubs are not going to want Chelsea to acquire those 3 defenders at once.
Yep, I do agree with you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well, brother. Please, I sincerely do hope things are well with you. He says, I heard last week that this week is the deadline for Rafinha. Now I'm hearing it's next week. Which one is it? Again, that's why I say the whole thing is confusing. It's turned into a conundrum. We're not sure what, in fact, is really happening. It's everywhere. Again, is there a show tomorrow? Yes, there will be 3 shows tomorrow. The Blue Morning Show, the frankly Saturday show with Helgi, and not Trevor, I've forgotten his name. And also there will be the evening show with Louisa. Sergio Dest, again, that's a player. I don't know why we're looking for him. If in fact, if we're looking at him, Rafinha is the answer to become a good team this season. Not just Rafinha alone. Again, I see us getting a Kounde and Koulibaly. I don't see us paying the 45 million plus for who's the rest. We'll see. I swear we're slipping on Koulibaly. Again, it depends on what the player himself wants to do, because I think about a month ago or so, we offered him more than any other club has offered him. So again, it doesn't look like the player himself wants to come to Chelsea. I could be wrong. If I see it happen, I'd take it. Let's see what happens. At this rate, I will even take Pau Torres I wouldn't. I'm not panicking yet. I think we're not even halfway into the transfer window. We'll see what happens. All is well. He says, if you're in the chat, if you have a question, please shoot, and we will try to address it. Luis, I'm going to come back to you. Give us updates on the women's team and how you think if they've played any friendlies and how well the new signings have done. Or do you think they need time to adapt? Again, your thoughts on how well do you think they do the coming season? Are they done with their businesses, or do you think they're still going to sign more players?
Yeah, I think currently we're looking at 2 players for the women's academy, and preseason doesn't
women's
start.
academy, not the women's first team.
No, we're looking for 2 players for the women's academy, and I heard that we're still targeting the player. We're targeting one, I think a 20-year-old defensive midfielder who we wanted, but she just announced a renewal with her club, so we're going to go in for like our second choice, which is still a pretty good player. But the women's Euros is currently going on, so even the Conca, I think that one is ongoing also. The women's continental championships are going on in Africa, Europe, North America, and South America. So preseason doesn't start till second week of August, and we do have a tournament in US, a preseason tournament in US, where we're going to be playing one American club, one Mexican club, and one French club. So we won't see our signing in a Chelsea blue till that period. But currently at the Euros, we have 12 Chelsea players representing Sweden, France, Germany, Denmark, England, Norway, and they are off to a good start. So that's where we're at now, and we're still trying to get in those two youngsters, because they are all the rave, and I think they did represent England under 19 recently. They were the old England setup was underwhelming, but those two, they were good. So another thing that we're looking out for is to get good loans for the academic graduates who we do have on the books, but I don't think we would get them into the first team yet, which it's not surprising because we do have like a good talented squad, which I don't think the academic graduates have enough experience to, and I don't want them to sit on the bench because I need them to continue developing. So we'll see how the preseason comes along.
And what are your expectations overall for the women's team this coming season? How well do you think? Do you think they've signed enough players in the areas? Do you think they'd be able to win the Champions League this time?
Yeah, the thing with Emma is that you'd think a player is coming in like is swapping a player who just left, or is coming from. Emma usually uses players differently from the way they were used before. You kind of even get to see them in a completely different setting. So I don't really know. It depends on what Emma does with the team. I don't think we're done with the business we're going to do. Maybe we'll still see like 1 or 2 more signings for the first team squad. But realistically, I would expect us to win the league. Maybe either the FA Cup or the Conti Cup to supplement. Then I expect us to go far. I expect us to go far in the Champions League. I don't know if we'll be able to win it at this this season, but I do expect us to win it within the next 2 or 3 seasons.
But you expect them to retain the domestic trophies?
I don't know if we'd retain all the domestic trophies, but I expect us to win the league because we do have the manager. We have the squad that is more consistent in the league. So I do expect us to win the league. I don't know if we'd be able to retain the FA Cup. I think maybe we could realistically get the Conti Cup.
Yeah. Again, a good point. Again, if you're watching, we have 73 people watching and 672 likes. If you haven't, please take a second to like the video. Luis, anything else you want us to talk about, or should we call it a day? The questions aren't coming from the chat, which means I think it's the show has come to a natural end. Except if you have anything else you want us to talk about.
No, I don't have anything for us to talk about now. Maybe it's because it's Friday night. That's why there's no more questions coming in.
Yeah, people are tired and wants to go get some rest. Again, thank you very much for everyone that tuned in this evening. It's not easy, and thank you for Louisa. Again, see her Twitter handle, Louisa. I used to see Sol_Daro, and of course, follow the Chelsea Perspective. Follow Chelsea Perspective on Twitter. Check out our Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. Please do follow us on all those places. I want to say thank you to Gunplay. Thank you to Givanga, David. And thank you again to Chelsea all the way. Thank you to Andres Gomez. Thank you to True Blue who was here. Again, Ike, IC, to everyone else who found time to join us. I cannot thank you guys enough. And with that, we've come to the end of the show. I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the Blue Monday show and the Frankly Saturday show. And of course, the evening show with Louisa. Thank you. God bless us all. And bye.